Hey. We're live. All right. Hey. It's Naima Singletary here, advisor to emerging visionaries who are unusually powerful and know that they are here to birth something that the world has yet to see and have a vision that require millions. And today I am talking about the secret wealth of your emotions and why they are disruptive the way they are and why they become disruptive the way when they do, and how much of a good thing this all is. And I've come to know this through countless frustrations and why God, and just not understanding and seeking just heartfully, honestly, truthfully seeking to understand why. And I feel so lucky and blessed, and it's a reminder also of how chosen I am to share this with you, and then to share more deeply with those who I'm working with what is so required, and what is now the time to express its importance. You know, when I think about like why on the outside this feels so new and on the inside it feels so old, it's that now is time. Like it's okay now, like it's safe now, like we can now. And I just know that whoever that this is really for, you'll catch it, and everybody else, it'll be like kind of like you just cannot catch the revelation until you are equipped and ready to catch the revelation, no matter how much you try to understand it. So first of all, I'm so like, this has been with me. Like I'm just now getting ready to say this, but this has been with me, and it just wasn't time for it to come out of my mouth, and now it is. And so it is time for 3 of you, whoever if it's you, it's you, for us to really make some organized noise in 2019, some organized noise, us working very intimately together and normalizing, remember I've talked about this, and not normalizing in the bored way, but really having it be where we are a voice, a consistent voice, a clear voice, specifically talking to others like us who are scattered throughout the world, because we're all over the place, we're just scattered, and really creating cohesive messages on a consistent basis and sharing them both in person and online. And so what I'm open to now and what I'm calling in is 3 of you who know that you know that you know that you're ready to really emerge into the world, into the marketplace as a chosen one, and really coming with your message, the message that is like of absolute truth, right? Because the way I see this is that there's this noise of the world and everybody, it's just like, right? There's industries and noise and hurts and smoke screens and false stories that have been perpetuated for centuries that appear true. And the time is here now, you guys, we are so lucky. The time is here now for you and I to come out and clear, right? Like our presence creates that kind of clarity, that kind of, right? And so I'm looking to work deeply and intimately. We're looking at, when I say we, I mean you and I, whoever the me and the 3 are, coming together in person once a week, somewhere amazing and infusing, right? It's somewhere that I'm hand selecting that I know is going to provide nutrients to really feed us as individuals, but then also us being together in this space once a quarter in 2019. And really, it's the quality of your yes and the quality of who you are that is so important. The knowing, the person who this is for, you absolutely know that you are born to birth something extraordinary and that does not yet exist in the world. You're very clear that there's the human you, like the mortal you that has the brain that I've been talking about, that is strictly here for survival, just food and housing, and cannot even fractionally comprehend the colossalness that is you. And then there's the deepest, highest you, your God self. And you're very clear that that person exists in, not even person, but that being exists in you, and that it is your duty. Like you are sick if you are not leading from this place. You are sick if you are not birthing the work that you were born to birth. This is who I'm calling in. You are of supreme nature, and you know this. You don't kind of think maybe, like I had this epiphany and I had this like prophetic moment where like I was thinking, no. You, even if you've never articulated this to anybody else, and it only rests inside of your heart and soul and your knowing that you are here to birth something extraordinary, and that you will only, here's standard, you will only be in the company of others who hold the same reverence. And this goes so beautifully into what it is that I'm discussing today. And I had yet another reminder this weekend that actually inspired today's topic of why it is so essential for us to be so intentional and plan as much as we can, because there are things that are out of our control naturally. However, to plan as much as we can and to be as intentional as we can. Hello to those of you who are here live. When it comes to where we're going, when we're going, protecting our spaces when we go to different places, and creating conditions for us to be where we're going to be on purpose. So, before I go any further, I want to say that the video is limited, right? Like, I go until I'm complete. And as you're listening to me, you know that there's so much depth behind the layer that I share here in a video, right? There's so much backstory and so much more than what is here. And so that's in all videos naturally, because this is just, a carved out time and space. So that's one of the reasons why it is so critical for us to be in relationship in real life. And I'm also saying that because as I'm getting ready to go into this, I recognize I'm feeling the layeredness and what makes this such a long game, and why it is so critical for us to, really, I've just come into this level of respect myself in the last few months, right? Because I have suffered so many times, and I have been in so many situations where it's just the level of disregard was there, because the disregard was within me. So anyway, here's what happened. So Saturday, this past Saturday, I got my hair done in Milan. I went into the city. So I'm about a 30-minute car drive from Milan. But I use the train to get into Milan because I do not like driving. And so the plan was go to Milan, get my hair done, be at the salon for no more than 4 hours, and then go do some shopping, and then spend the night in Milan, because I knew that I was only going to have a certain amount of time after being in the salon for 4 hours, and then didn't want to have to rush and all that with shopping. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stay in the city Saturday night and wake up, go shopping Sunday, and then come back here on Sunday. That was the plan, right? It was just so carved out, and I'm like, oh, it's so organized. I got me an Airbnb in the city for one night. Okay, great, here we go. And so in my planning, it was, okay, I'll be at the salon. My appointment was for 11:30 in the morning. I was like, okay, I'll be there until 3:30, right? And if just something happens with time right, I always try to buffer. Whenever I'm organizing things, I give myself more than enough time. I don't squeeze and back-to-back shit. I don't do that. I've struggled, suffered there too, recognizing that This who I am being needs time and space to process, just like you do too. So this back-to-back shit that people do, you and I cannot do that. Well, there's a way that we need to structure ourselves so that we are clear and present and we're well taken care of. So anyway, so I said, okay, 3:30, and then if just something goes awry, 4:30 max. This is what I'm saying in my mind, right? 4:30 max, right? So I'm at the salon on Saturday, and 4:30 comes, and right, this is already the max time, 4:30. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm watching what's going on, and what has happened is they have overbooked in the salon, which they have never done before. This is a salon that I've been going to since 2016. So I know them, they know me, and this was a weird, rare thing. And so it's 4:30, then it's 4:45, and then I want to go check my Airbnb people. We're texting like, okay, when I'm done, I'll let you know. So now it's like the feeling of, I've been here too long. I'm tired, like literally my energy is like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be out of here. She was doing like, I think she had started styling my hair or something like that. And I remember I stopped looking at my clock for some reason. And when I looked back at my clock, it was 5:30. And like the emotion of, first of all, why just the disrespect of time. The time felt totally disrespected, right? And that's not even the big point here that I'm making. I'm just saying how it all started. I want you guys to, I'm giving you the chronology of things so you can see how important it is for us to be so highly self-aware of self. Highly self-aware. And so, okay, here's 5:30. And I'm like, so then I start to literally flame inside. I'm flaming inside. But I'm aware, right? Because I know how I am. Like, Naima, be very aware, be very intentional about the energy that you give off, the way you talk to people, the way you are. So she's styling my hair, and I can see with the time that, because my hair is like brand new, she's just starting to style, and I think to myself, I'm not sitting here for this, because it's going to take her another at least 40 minutes or so to style my hair and to style it right and to do everything and for me to get out of the salon. So I say to them, I actually call over the main guy who runs the show, because the woman who's doing my hair, she cannot understand fluent English. She's an African woman, but she doesn't speak English. And so I call him over and I say to him, okay, it's time for me to go. It's 5:30 now, so I've been here for 6 hours. And so I'm gonna finish this up at home. I'd like to pay now. And he says, okay. So he tells her what I just said. And then she finishes up something, and while she's finishing that up, I give him the money. So as soon as she's finishing doing what she's doing, I can just walk out the door. I don't have to go over to the register and do all that. So this story is becoming a lot longer than I intended it to be. So anyway, what happens is I'm like, she's finishing up, and she's even taking longer than I want her to finish up, and my energy is ready to go. I'm ready to, and keep in mind, it's dark outside now. I got there at 11:45 in the morning, and it's dark outside now, okay? And so I'm like, I'm ready to go. And what I did not consider is me going out into this, and I'm gonna take Metro, which is like BART, which is like Subway, right? I'm gonna take that 2 stops to get to the Airbnb that I've rented for the night to check in and then go shopping. That's the new plan. Go check in with Airbnb, then go shopping, right? So I don't take into account, thank you, Lena. I don't take into account that I'm getting ready to go into this space where there's tons, and it's a Saturday. It's a Saturday in the city of Milan. Milan is like New York City. It's like San Francisco. It's like city, that kind of vibration, right? And so I'm so in a hurry. So catch this. I'm so in a hurry. I'm so like urgent to go. I don't prepare myself. I don't prepare myself, and I totally own this because you and I must move differently. And I forgot. In that moment, I forgot. And I was hasty. I don't prepare myself, so I rush out to go get on Metro. And then I go underground. And while I'm waiting for the train, I realize that I left my bag at the salon. So I'm already like frustrated and urgent. And I have walked 7 minutes, have already put in my ticket, gone in, gone down the stairs. Oh, I forgot my bag. Then I have to go back. Now a bag where I had bought this like pouch thing that I had bought earlier in the day. Okay, long story, unnecessary. Anyway, so then here I have to go back to get the bag. Then I go back to Metro, and there's all these people because it's Saturday. It's like 6 or something like that. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for the comment. So I know that, you know, who's here and that people are here because I never know what the numbers and if it's real or not. And so, so then I get to Airbnb. I'm like hasty. I check in. And then I leave my purse there and I put on the satchel thing that I had and I unload myself and I brush my teeth and wash my, right, freshen up to go back outside. And I still do not prepare myself in the way that is so essential for you and I to prepare ourselves so we can be present for our clients, for ourselves, and just to be okay in the world. When you have big energy, when you're colossal, when you have these, right, raging capacities, right? So I leave, I rush out, I go get back on Metro to go where I need to go shopping, which is about a 3 or 4 stop ride from where I am. And I get off and I go and I'm rushing now. Like this is not the way. I'm rushing to the shoe store and then oh God. And then it's like, it just literally, it's like the bottom of myself just collapsed. I just collapsed. And I remember I walked into this shop that I really like and I could barely get the words out to tell the people what I was looking for. And I remember hunger started to really creep in and I walked out of that shop and I was on this corner, this busy corner, and I said to myself, see, Naima, see. It was just a reminder of why, and I'm gonna connect this to the secret wealth behind the emotions because this is luckily, I did not have anywhere like I really needed to be, like a meeting or with a client or needed to be on video or like somewhere I really seriously needed to be because I was tapped out. Because one, I did not take into account that here I am coming into this enormous wave of energy. Being around tons of people, when you're dialed in to your power, you're dialed in to energy, being around many people without preparing myself, without preparing yourself to be around these people will take it out of you and cause you to, right? Now, see, there have been times in the past where I was not aware and in charge of my emotions, where I would have gone crazy in that salon, where I would have been like, you're disrespecting my time, and like it would have become a whole thing, whether I would have done it in front of everybody, right? Totally unconscious and immature. Or if I would have taken that person, the main guy who was in charge, behind where nobody else could see and just really let him have it. And I was very poised and he gave me a discount and right, because of the way I handled it. And then, you know, I ended up really taking care of myself that evening, and I'm not gonna go into that because I wanna really loop this around to the wealth of this, right? And in the past, where I have not been aware of how precious my energy is and how much I can do when I am sitting inside of myself, relaxed and prepared, because there's things that we can't control. There's things you cannot control, and there's things that you have complete control over. What you have complete control over is how you handle things. And you're able to better handle unpredictable things when you have regard of yourself and control of your emotions, right? And I have been out of control of my emotions enough and have paid the consequence of not controlling my emotions enough to know and to have learned how to better deal with, okay? And then practice with dealing with better. So there's actually several stories that are percolating, and I just recognize that I have not picked one before going live here with you today. So let me think for a moment. So I'm going to share this. I'm going to share this. And the reason why I'm like, should I share it? Is because I thought that I would maybe share this and loop it into, have a more intentionality and loop it into another, but it actually it can be used in so many different instances. But I will go into more detail at a later time, so I'll share it in a simplified version now, and I'll go into more detail later to make another point. But I had a group of women I was working with, and one of those women gave me a really hard time. This was a group of clients, and one of them gave me a really hard time. Oh, and this makes so many different points. Prior to her becoming a client, I had that. You're going to hear me talk more about high discernment and high consciousness in the show. You're going to hear me talk more about that. Very high discernment. And I talked about this last week about refinement, about how we think that these things that are happening in our lives are indicators that we're normal, or indicators that we're not fit to lead, indicators that we're not chosen, when the truth is there's a refinement of yourself that's required so you become more fit. You know, it goes in line with that expression, God does not call the prepared, he prepares the called, right? You've heard something like that? And so when I talked last week about drinking seemingly uncontrollably, it's like there's a preparedness that happens because while you are chosen and you are supreme, you're still down here as a human here on planet Earth. And so there's a relatability that's really required because of this human brain. This human brain is so mortal and so cannot comprehend that although we have highness in us, those who we are meant to serve, they will have a hard time really reaching hold of you and really embracing and connecting with you if they don't see where you have suffered like them. So there's a level of suffering that helps refine us and helps us be relatable to those that we are meant to serve. And so with this woman, and what's so interesting behind all this that you and I encounter with these low places is that throughout the whole time, I know. Throughout the whole time, I know. And it's like when the suffering comes, it's like, gosh, I knew this was coming. It's just such a mind fuck. So, it was 4 women. And before this woman, I remember during their enrollment conversation we were having, I just got this, it was so quiet. You know how the intuition is the ego is, bitch, yeah! This intuition is so elegant and subtle. And something in my said, something's not quite right about this person. It's like, And I was so excited because this program was a dream. It was like my whole heart and oh God, it was something that I created when I allowed myself to sit down. I remember this is when I was living in Milan full time. And I sat down on the couch in my living room. And I remember it was like, it's time for me to take it to the next level, me and my clients. And I said, Naima, what is the highest and next best way for you to serve? And I'm telling you, the download. Remember I guys talked to you guys about speed? It just came and it was like I was so full. And then remember I told you about the speed, about when I went to go sell my company and the speed, right? It happened just like that. I remember I was on the phone with a client, a wonderful client. I just loved working with her. And I wasn't even thinking she was going to be a part of it. I was just telling it to her out of excitement about what it was going to look like and what was involved. She was like, okay, yeah, I'll be there. And she paid right then and there. I mean, like, this is the speed at which it was going, right? So this was a project that was in my heart. It was like next level, like this is the thing that's taking all of us to the next 100th level, not even the next level, but the next 100th level. So I was all in, and this woman was signing up for this, and we were on the phone, and I just had that subtle, like, she's not the perfect fit. Because it's one thing, there's that difference between 99% and 100% is huge, huge. Like, there's so much struggle in 99%. At 100%, boss, swift, speed, precision, right? That's 100%. 99% is like, oh, I would like to so bad. I want to. I'm trying. I'm lugging up, right? And you think that there's 99%, 100% is not a big deal. That 1% makes 100% of the difference. So I felt 99% about this woman, but I was blinded by my excitement. And this is where the practice of high discernment, not discernment, high discernment, because it's that where you got to master that right there. So like, it's the difference between good people and great people. It's the difference between a $100,000 career and a multi-million-dollar career. It's the difference between selling and changing things. That's the difference between 99% and 100%. That's the difference between discernment and high discernment. And when you are chosen, like you and I, a stream of gratitude just right there, because I'm dialed in. That high discernment, because you are needed, darling, you and I. We are birthing something that does not exist, and it's so easy to forget. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of drinking your coffee, of just responding to an email, of just paying a bill. It's just so easy to get caught up in the normalcy of being a mortal human and forgetting how colossal you are, that you were made for this. You're not making this up. You were made like this. And that all of your raging emotions on the inside, the times when you seem to go from 0 to 100 real quick, because you were violated in some kind of a way that maybe on the surface it seems insignificant and small, but it's because you are made for highness in all things. High thought, high discernment, high precision, high living, high connections. And you see how the mortal mind likes to fight that? The mortal mind cannot comprehend high discernment. This is why it's so important for, if you are called to this, that you are one of the 3 that works with me next year, and all of us. Why it's so important for you to guard your emotions and become so sovereign over your emotions where nothing ever happens to you and everything happens for you. Yes, Lena. And that the rage of emotions comes from you tolerating less. Catch that. The rage that then turns into apathy because you continue to tolerate less. And you allow, how can you take, like, this is higher than a queen, you guys. This is higher than a queen. How do you take the pharaoh, the person who is higher than a queen, and sit her and expect her to be able to serve highly from a low place? And be clear, you know, people, it's easy to be like, well, Jesus was, you know, in the slums, and Jesus was with prostitutes. Jesus was also aware that he was there to be in service. And this is 2019. This is not after Christ, before Christ. This is 2019. And as high people, you and I must learn to be effective in modern day times with ancient highness, universal infinite highness. We must learn the skill of being effective now. I cannot go back to Jesus' time, and neither can you. I am here in 2019, where fear is at an all-time high, where the clouds and the smoke screens that have created the world that we live in, the fear that has created the world we live in, the deception that has created the world that we live in. You guys, the level of recreated false stories, false narratives about who we are as humans, about who we are as women. And so it's not even important. It is absolutely required that you and I learn the skill of high discernment, high decision-making, high presence, being able to prepare ourselves for where it is that we're going. When I left that salon, first of all, I should not have left hastily. First of all, I should have gone into the bathroom and prepared myself for leaving there and going to the next place, knowing that I was getting ready to go and have to be engaged with all these energies from all over the place, because you are in this place, but you are not of this place. I am in this place and I am not of this place. And what was really good is that I had my emotions together, and I recognized that I needed to pull it back and stop when I left that last shop that I love, and I gave up shopping. I didn't do nothing. I was done. And I said, the next restaurant I see, I'm gonna sit down and eat. And that's exactly what I did. And so, done, went and had myself a delicious truffle dinner at this truffle restaurant, and then went to another cafe and had a glass of wine just to really dial it in and just chill before I went back to the Airbnb, went to sleep, got up the next day refreshed, and prepared myself to go out and shop and use my time so efficiently that next day, focused on what it is that I wanted, kept my energy intact, because it's really tough for me to be out here in these streets. And it was also a reminder of how much I am radically reducing how much I go into stores and shop, and getting better at shopping while living here in Europe, okay? So with the story, with the 4 women I was working with, the woman who I had that, something's not quite, I'm not 100% about her, and being blinded by my excitement, this woman ended up giving me the most problems. And remember I told you about things happening for you and not to you? I wasn't able to see it at the time. But revisiting that over and over and over again, asking myself, Naima, what is this here to teach you? How did you contribute to this? How can you learn here? Recognizing that 1% where I was not 100% with her was my need, the requirement. Okay, you guys, eradicate need from your vocabulary. You notice how often I correct myself when I say need? Need is such a low vibration. It's rooted in low. Need, right? Require is the word. Require. Remember that. And then track yourself. This is your homework. Notice how often you say need, and practice replacing need with require. And just notice how that feels in your body, in your system, when you, instead of saying need, you say require. I require high discernment. I require high regard. I require truffle dinner. I require a powerful, supportive team. I require people who see me. I require. Anyway, so because I required high discernment, this big ass fucking blow up happened. And because I require precision with my emotions and control with my emotions, when I got the negative feedback from this person and handled it with uncontrolled emotions, the whole eruption of that, right? Because everything is happening for you. Everything is happening for you, not to you. I was able to see, wow, Naima, you require high discernment. Wow, Naima, you really require, as you are ascending, Naima, 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 as you are ascending and becoming of greater service and being in your signature place in the world, it is required that you have greater control of your emotions. You're not just working with clients. You are literally changing the way women interact with themselves, perceive themselves, move around the globe. You must hold yourself in highness. It is required that you hold yourself in highness and that you support others in holding themselves in highness. Now, what's the secret wealth in this? You are feeling this already, huh? The speed of it, the discernment of it, the intuition of it, the connection with infinite intelligence, and the embodiment of this. Can you feel this? Can you feel the wealth of this and how this touches everything? This touches who you allow into your life. This touches how you allow yourself to think and feel. This touches how you move around earth. Therefore, this will touch your business. This touches who you allow to become a client. Oh, and this is so critical. I'm telling you how many times that I have had to practice. And the only thing that will have a person continue to practice after they mess up again and again and again and keep going. And you get some success in there, but the truth is success is really a culmination of failures. Darling, I don't care what the best motivational, shiny Instagram. Success is a culmination of failures. Write that down. Success is a culmination of failures. And it is so essential. This is why high discernment is of such incredible value. It's because when you are able to discern and be able to see how something is happening for you and not to you, for you, not to you, the worst things become your friends. The worst things, the most heinous, vulgar, soul disrupting, disturbing things are your friends, because you have high discernment to see how it's happening for you. Can you see that? When you have just discernment or low discernment, you stop, you find some really nice sounding story as to why now's not the time, and this is not for you, and you are not made for this, and that's for those other people. And so I was able to see with this catastrophe, because this presence of this woman reflected so much of how much I had fucked up. And because I was open and because I desired to grow and to really stand in my colossalness, and because I refuse to live at the bottom of life, I refuse to know that I am made for colossalness and to pretend like I am insignificant. And I don't mean insignificant like, oh, I want to be somebody, but I know that I am here to birth a grand thing. And my system will not allow me to just... There have been times when I have said, why? Why can't I just just have a nice little business, just make a little simple $80,000 a year and just exist. Why can't I just be normal like that and just take my little vacation once or twice a year and just do my little brunches and my little happy hours? Why can't I just be like that? Why must I push and stretch and demand and go and rise? Why must I? Why must you? Because as I have said and as I will continue to say, you were born like this. You were made, like a lot of people who watch me, they just like to watch me for inspiration because it feels good. It's like masturbation. It's just like a little spiritual masturbation. They're not gonna do anything much more than what they're doing. You, on the other hand, cannot quit. You've already tried. You've already tried. You tried to drink yourself into oblivion. You tried to get high into oblivion. You tried to shop into oblivion. You tried to find anything to reduce this fucking thing that will not quit. And still, you go. You go again. You push the envelope. You antagonize. You stretch. You must go. And it's a very, very high likelihood that you are one of the three, man or woman, one of the three who will be working very intimately with me next year. High. Am I back in action? I think so. Thank you guys. This is that sometimes. The only thing we do is who live upstairs can reset. So uh, about the necessity and the requirement of high discernment. So I think I made my point. And I want to articulate because when the internet went down, I'm just like, my people need to hear this. And it's just like that feeling of, gosh, this is so important, So here's what's going on. My speaking event in Zurich has been canceled. I actually, about 30 minutes before I went live here, the woman texted me and said for personal reasons, she has to cancel. I haven't even spoken to her. I told her I would call her after I hung up for my show because I told her my show is getting ready to go live. I have to talk to you later. And so I have no idea what that's about, and I will find out. So I thought I would be broadcasting to you guys on Wednesday from Zurich. That won't be happening. That's one thing. Two, if you know that you're supposed to be one of the three for us to work together intimately for a whole year, okay, in 2019, send me an email, Naima@naimasingletary.com. My email is with this video. And email me, like, who are you? What are you about? What's the thing that you know you're meant to do? What's going on in your world? Because I want to talk a little bit about, I'll take a few minutes just to talk about what I see for this year. Coming year is really bringing, like I said, organized noise to us who are just so lucky to be alive at a time like this. I was watching The Breakfast Club. As a matter of fact, as I was flat ironing my hair in preparation for the show, I was watching the most recent episode of The Breakfast Club, and D.L. Hewley was on there. And he was saying to Charlemagne is one of the hosts. For those of you who don't know, you can go to YouTube and look for The Breakfast Club. And D.L. Hewley was saying to Charlemagne, do you know you would have been killed for being you 30 years ago? 30 years ago. He's like, do you know you would have been killed for being you 30 years ago? And in my mind, I was thinking to myself, look at how lucky we are to be alive. First of all, as Black people, right? Let's do some individuation here. Black people we're so lucky to be alive. And then humans, right? Because there are white people and other people who were killed, destroyed, and persecuted for being leaders, for being ahead, for bringing something to the world that didn't exist at their time. Huh? So we are so lucky to be alive now, right? And so it's very clear to me that I am one of the folks who are charged with and equipped with the skill and the care. Like, you got to really give a shit to do this kind of work. The skill, the care, the willingness, and the ability to really hold visionaries who are bringing forth something that does not yet exist, to really be that reflection, to really be that support, to really be that person who can be in relationship with you while you navigate this complex, nuanced mind fuck of an existence of being both a chosen one in an imperfect body. With this mortal mind. Because there's so much of it that to a person that's trying to make logic of things, it just does not make sense. So if you know that you are meant to be one of the three, darling, I welcome you with all of me. You and I, let's get on the phone. Let's discuss what you see for yourself, what you're going to be creating. I am here to bring you to the world brightly. Brightly. I sent this in an email to a woman today, as a matter of fact. She just signed up with me on Friday for us to work together in a VIP day in California. I am here, it's clear to me that I am here to bring forth those of you who know you're meant to work with me brightly, unapologetically, and well paid. Write that down. Brightly, unapologetically, and well paid. The time is now. We are, baby, darling, all the consciousness that has been tried to be beat out of us is allowed. The highness of all things is allowed. The only thing between you and it is your willingness to step into it and live from it. Like this woman said to me on the phone, all this time I was waiting, thinking that I needed to wait for something, when really it was me who needed to make the decision. So I leave you with that. It is such a joy. It is such a joy, and enriching for me to be here with you. So thank you for being here with me live. Thank you for sharing this. The universe is always course correcting. So thank you for sharing this. And I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Europe time. And I also still have space for VIP day in London at the end of November. Or if you want to come to Paris, all right? So you can shoot me an email. My email is with this video. So I will be back here on Wednesday, same time, same place. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing this. Share this with your people. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. And you can leave comments. I will be responding to comments. For those of you who watch this as a replay, you can leave comments and I will graciously come back and respond to those that I believe require a response. Bye.